Welcome to another episode of the Beefy Boys Breakdown. I believe this is episode 129. We're going over UFC 288, Aljo versus Triple C. And I mean, card had some highs, had some lows. I could argue that, name value aside, fight for fight action value, give me the prelims over the main card. I had a sneaky suspicion that might have been that was going to be the case.
Yeah, I was gonna say I could argue not worth $80. Although
Well, I said that 2 weeks ago when we previewed this card. I was like, we got Kron Gracie on the main card.
oh, I can't. I mean, I guess we're gonna kick it off with it, so I can kind of start a little bit on that. But that's literally his name was the only thing that was sold there. We're watching a guy that has 2005 fight skills fight in 2022, and he's in the UFC, or 2023, and he's in the UFC. How?
That shouldn't have been on the main card. I'll argue till I'm blue in the face that Dober Frivola, especially once Mitchell pulled out. Because when we're talking about how bad the main card was, we got to factor in the Mitchell pullout, which we ended up with a sick fight in that fight, quite frankly.
Yeah, shout out Lopez. We're gonna get to
Lopez.
Holy
earned
shit!
Holy
shit! Yeah, me too.
Whack
tats. I'm not gonna condone the tats.
Oh, and the haircut is out of line.
But great fight skills.
Yeah, awesome fighter. But yeah, Dober Frivola all day should have been on the main card over Kron Gracie versus Charles Jourdain. Also, we gotta eat our bag of dicks because we're talking about the Kron Gracie name value. We just marked out for it hard. I was like, yeah, Gracie by sub plus 200, hammer it, and then you had a Kron straight money line, so. We can't talk too much shit. We not only bought the pay-per-view, but we bought the Kron Gracie mark.
I don't want to talk about my Kron bets, all right? And here's the thing. He's been in Bellator. He's gotten crazy come from behind subs. He clearly has a really good guard. And Charles Jourdain has not looked like who they acted like who he would be when he started, right? So my expectation was okay, Kron, I know his skill set. He's whatever this high. But Charles Jourdain, sorry, I'm pulling my notes, loves to fight to the skill level of his opponent, which in a Kron Gracie case is that's a problem. You can't do that. You can't try to engage in the ground. And I thought Charles Jourdain would piece him up on the feet, sure, whatever. But I also thought Kron would get takedowns and Charles Jourdain would be comfortable on the ground, and that was going to be his downfall. I was wrong.
Yeah. I mean, we also, I think a lot of my bet logic was more being down on Jourdain than it was high on Kron. Obviously, Kron's going to have his path to victory via sub. That's why I just went ahead and bet it by sub. He only got 50 points for,
plus 145 at start of fight and plus 210 for a sub at our casino, right? So, you're talking about a less than minus or plus 70 shift from any casino.
That's why I just went ahead and did it. If I was going to do the Kron to win, I might as well do Kron by 7.
Well, because he's not going to get the decision. He's definitely not going to win more rounds. He's definitely not going to knock anybody out. KO him. That's just absolutely. He doesn't even throw punches. So how would he knock someone out if you don't throw? We'll get to him especially not throwing punches, striker. Which is crazy. He doesn't throw punches, man. What am I supposed to do with that?
Was more, kind of down on Jourdain. He's 5-5 in the UFC.
I know he has and they build him so high in the start.
So I was kind of just more so out on Jourdain than I was marking out for Kron. But it is fun to give ourselves shit for marking out for Kron. But
it's just so tough, right? Because Charles Jourdain's huge thigh tat on his left leg is a World of Warcraft tattoo. I love that game. Not a fan of his. And why, I can't tell you other than, I've just been depressed by my expectations of him.
Yes.
But is that fair for me to have set those expectations based on what the UFC started him at? Does that make sense? Because, I would have never known who he was had the UFC not put him on as such. But putting him on as such has, deterred from me being able to build my, fan base of him.
Oh, I 1,000% agree. I think I even lost some money on him. I think I bet him to beat Nathaniel Wood.
Yes, we did.
I was high on him.
We did. We both did.
And so, it's just moments like that. Exactly, you talked about. Got us believing. It's all right, fool me Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. It's like we already were marked out. Like we were in on Charles Air Jordan, and then he let us down a couple times. We losing money on bet on you a couple times, and it's like, all right, I'm cooled off a little bit. Like,
right, like
I
man,
think that's natural.
how many times can I monetarily have your back that you let me down until I don't support you monetarily, or that I fade you? In fact, like I've been
which is what we
Charles
did.
Jordan. It wasn't even like a Chrome Gracie. Like I love Chrome Gracie. It was like I'm fading Charles Jordan's fight IQ, which was on display in this fight. It made no sense, honestly, man. This whole card was a bunch of stuff I never thought almost all these 5 fighters would be able to do that won their fights, and they did it. Now, with the exception of Evloev, because I'm talking about Lopez when I say that, of 5 fighters, but like of those 5, excluding Evloev, the 4 winners outside of that did everything they needed to do perfectly.
Yeah, man. Charles Jourdain, minus 170 favorite. Obviously, this fight's taking place in the featherweight division, and it's like he really did fight the perfect fight for this opponent. He would not engage. And hey, and credit to him. Joe kept talking about it like, hey, he's a black belt too. Like, he survived Krone's guard like every single, first and second round. He would stand up, he'd disengage, he survived the guard. So it's like he did as best a job he could to avoid the ground game with Gracie, but even it hit the mat a couple of times. And not only did he survive, he kind of dictated things. We got some top control time, if you will, even though it's hard to call it that when Kron pulls guard. So evaluate that how you will. But, there's no need to go around. But actually, there's no need to go around.
No. Every round's the exact same, and they get worse and worse and worse. The one thing, round 3 was him literally exploiting Krone's game. Like, it was awful to watch round 3. It was, like, hard to watch. Dean Thomas came on the mic and commentated it and, like, stole the words out of my mouth better than I could say. But we're watching a guy that's, like, 2005 skill set fight in 2023, and you're seeing what that looks like. Like, you're seeing a guy that has better jiu-jitsu than almost everyone else, but nothing else. And in 2005, he probably could pull that guard, get the triangle choke over the top with the leg, win the fight, and we'd be amazed. In 2023, bro, you're not going to do that. I'm sorry.
The sport's evolved. Yeah, no doubt. It's almost like, every sport's evolved, right? Like the 7-footers have to be able to dribble and shoot threes now in basketball. It's like every sport's evolved. It's like, there's not very many like 7-1 back-to-basket guys in the NBA. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you this. What do you think about the evolution from the NBA and let's say 65 to 95? Because that's what we're looking at here. It's a 30-year window, right? And like the NBA, I guess you could say was at its like, when would you say the NBA was inclusive? And I chose 60. What was that? 65 is the year because obviously people of color could then have rights. So that was the year I chose for the reason.
Well, yeah, I just whenever Bill Russell was on his run and Bill and that.
That's
era,
exactly when it was. That's exactly when it was. Late 60s, early 70s. That's exactly right.
Yeah. So that's I'm picking up what you're putting down. But yeah, like I said, every sport evolved. Hell, name a pocket passer. Justin Herbert ran a 4.6. Like Josh Allen. Name a pocket passer like that kid. Joe Burrow's like athletic, like more like kind of Rodgers-esque athletic. Like there's not many statues in the NFL anymore. So it's just like every sport's evolved. But I had kind of a different takeaway, and I'm going to kind of tie in something else I wanted to talk about. The one championship card Friday night was pretty awesome.
Can I give one more example before we dive into that? Because I have another piece to add on to your one example, but I just want to say, imagine Barry Sanders playing the first iteration Super Bowl teams. That's literally the 30. That's the 30-year mark. Like you see huge gains. Now, to your point about one, that made me watch this card entirely differently. Even the main event. Reset my standard for this card.
Yes, it was such an easy watch, right? Wasn't it
enjoyable? Like I went and watched it late at night because I have Amazon Prime, so free watch.
Exactly, me too. Yeah.
Bruh, great card. Rodtang? Are you serious? Honestly, the main event was the least entertaining, and it was still a great fight.
Some of the prelims, like Ty Rutolo's grappling matches on the prelims.
RDR's fight was crazy on the main card.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk to because I'll be completely honest. I don't watch a lot of grappling matches, but I did Friday night because on the one card.
Mikey Musumeci?
Yeah. And the difference, like he's actually entertaining to watch.
He's like low-key so nice. It's almost like you're watching like a savant in something do what they do best. Like watching Mozart like compose music. You're like you just sit back and you're like, how are you this far ahead? I just can't get it.
For sure. All right, so but what I'm getting at is something I noticed in the grappling matches is there's a certain level of intensity that is lower. It's more of a heady, like you're not going out there to kill or be killed. It's a different thing. It's a different thing. And that was the energy that Kron Gracie brought to the octagon. Like he was in there like to do a match, not get in a fight.
That catch energy, not that like I'm gonna die in here or not energy. Not even that necessarily, but just
a level of like intensity. Like I guess is like what I'm trying to get at. Like he was definitely like because after watching the grappling matches, like I said, on Once Card Friday, like there's just a different level of intensity, a different level of urgency, perhaps is the word.
So you watched the Embeddeds, right? Energy.
Like some of them. I didn't watch every single one.
All right, so here's what I picked up from Crone because they have him in there 3, maybe 4 times throughout the 6 episodes. He's just mad every time.
But he doesn't fight mad.
No, I almost mean like he's mad that he has to be there, to be cutting weight, to be fighting. Like it's almost like
he's mad at the sport of MMA.
Yeah, like he doesn't even want to be there, but he's a Gracie, so he has to do it, and they're gonna sign him because he's a Gracie. So like
he gets paid more to do that than he does to do like grappling matches.
Right. So like
no, I agree. I got that vibe too. Like he's kind of like. And he just, I hated all his cold takes about like 1 15-minute round.
Yeah.
And like, he said MMA shouldn't have rounds. Those were some cold ass takes.
Bro, he's a 2005 fighter. Like, I'm not kidding when I say that he's 20 years behind the sport.
Well, he got 30-27 by a guy who has a 500 record. So, I mean.
And isn't ranked. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no,
it's one thing to be ranked. Like let's say you're 5-2, and then you lose to 3 killers in a row, and you're 5-5, but you're number 14. That's a whole different scenario than being 5-5 and trying to get to a ranked fight.
Yeah, for sure, and kind of given those opportunities and failed. Yeah, I mean, Charles Jourdain has pretty much pieced him out, survived the guard. I mean, was able to get back to his feet, had the better cardio. I mean, the boxing, like honestly, like wasn't even fair. But it's hard to feel bad for a guy like Kron Gracie, like, right? You're not going to get any sympathy points. So it's like, I mean, he was just outclassing is like a nice way to put it. Like, it was just like uncompetitive. Like, it wasn't, this fight wasn't entertaining. That's why I kind of want to keep it pushing. But unanimous decision. Jourdain calls out Barbosa.
Love the call out.
Yeah.
Fire. Like, that fight's going to, and he even said, like, you made me fight a grappler. I don't want to grapple. I want to strike. I want to make an entertaining fight for you all. Like, put me on the stage.
That's a good fight for Barbosa's level, like where he's at in his career, like for taking some L's to the higher end guys. Like, all right, if you can't beat Jourdain, it's probably time to hang it up. Like, yeah.
I will also say, you know what I've learned in the last maybe 6 months to a year of the announcers like trying to like Feld or trying to like force a call out on guys is that like when they have like a nuance to the call out, right? Like him instigating the fans and being like, I want to strike for you. That's a great selling point. Like most fans that are just casual don't want to watch a grappling match. And him like attacking that and being like, this guy's a striker. I'll strike with him. I won't grapple him. I'll strike with him. And his call out is like, that's going to help sell that fight to those fans. I already wouldn't watch it either way. But I'm saying for a casual, if a guy's promising a striking versus striking matchup, most casual people are like, yeah, I would watch a guy get his head knocked off.
I'll say this: it better not be on no fucking pay-per-view main card. But yeah, I'm down to watch it. But yeah, let's keep it pushing.
I don't know. I can see that being the pay-per-view main card opener with Edson having the respect and name he has. Like it's nothing to do with Charles Jourdain. It's just that Edson's worthy of a main card.
I know. Goddamn, I'm trying to speak it into existence.
Edson had a crazy finish in his last fight too. So now more than ever, he get that respect.
It's probably a sick fight. It probably is a sick fight.
I'm just saying, like the timing, the phrasing of the call out. It was a beautiful call out. We don't get that often.
How about the fight night featured match hitter? You know what I'm saying? Let's get that. Fight.
Honestly, like if they want to do that as a fight night co-main behind like 2 dogs, co-main, all good with that too. I will take that every day of the week. Like, but I think those are the same fight, right? Like, I think a fight night co-main that's like a heater fight night co-main can open a main card most times.
You know the difference is I'm not paying $80 for one. And on that note, we'll keep it pushing.
Let's go,
man.
baby.
This next fight, man. I mean, we ended up with a gym on our hands.
We got a lot
this fight
to
was
talk about.
fucking awesome. Yeah,
talk about.
A lot to talk about.
Scoring's important. Ramifications of the division also going to be important here, obviously. Bryce Mitchell, easily fight of the night. Was it awarded fight of the night? Easily fight of the night.
Easily,
no question. Yes. Glad that you say that. This was, and let me preface it for fans with number 10 versus 1 week, 5 days replacement, minus 900 versus plus 625.
And we're 10 versus who the fuck is that guy?
Yeah, who is that guy? He's been undefeated for 7 years, they say. Who knows?
He has a Karen cut and the worst chest tat of all time.
The dream, believe, and you can achieve, or some bullshit is what's tattooed in big, god-awful letters on his chest. He has a like dog shit haircut.
The worst haircut.
Imagine Cejudo, but with Down syndrome, cutting his own hair. That's what it looks
like. Imagine Cejudo asking if he could speak to your manager. Is like what we end up with.
Or like Cejudo meets AFI.
Yeah. It's like an emo Karen. You're right. Emo Karen, I think, is what we'll settle on there. But yeah. So I mean, last minute replacement. Which the fact, like, the UFC like snitched on themselves because everybody said on the embedded episode. That's the one I did watch. The Bryce Mitchell
purple bullshit.
He's in the cold tub with the shoulder, and then everybody started in the comment section was like, "Hey, I had shoulder surgery. This is what they put under your skin to see if the blood's circulating to the area." Like every people in the comment, it's like a dye. It wasn't a bruise. It was like a dye that, like, when you have a fucked up like area of your body, like see if your blood's like if your body's like circulating. I'm no doctor, obviously, but like it's something along those lines. It's like, you know, like medical dye, like And so then they have a cold tub sitting on embedded, talking about like shoveling horse shit or whatever.
Talking about, I'm proud to be a farmer. He calls me Farmer Mitchell. Well, man, I worked all my life to have this farm.
No, and that's honestly dope. Like I actually
appreciated that. Like, that's actually really cool. Like, yeah, like the greater point of what you're saying is like, you're calling me Farmer Mitchell. Well, I've always wanted to be a farmer, so thank you.
Words is round, but
integrity.
Yeah, integrity. But yeah, so it's just the fact that the UFC even acted like that fight was gonna happen. It's just like TJ Dillashaw all over again.
It's the same shit.
I mean,
if he had continued with the fight, it'd be fucked. Now we'll get to that in the co-main because that's something to talk about. Was that previous or not? We'll talk about that because his coach seemed all too aware of it.
Yeah, you're right. It didn't like that at all. But anyway, I guess enough of the woulda, coulda, shouldas. But what we ended up with was fucking awesome. We got the 16-0 Movsar Evloev, minus 900 favorite, number 10 featherweight. Who, like, I'm a huge. I guess I have to say was. I'm sorry, he got exposed. I was an Evloev.
Big. You know what? The only thing it wasn't exposed, he won't tap ever. Dagestan does not tap. I will give the people of Dagestan this. You'll die to a rear naked choke. Now, I don't know if that's me complimenting you or not, but like in real life, you die to a rear naked choke because you won't ever tap.
Dogs. They're dogs.
I don't know if that's a compliment or not. Like, you tell me.
No, it is, man. It is a compliment because it'd be winning them motherfuckers' fights. Could you imagine if Evloev had lost this fight? Like, it's a disaster. I mean, it's already close enough to being a disaster as it is. Like I said, I'll use the word exposed. Like, call that a hot take if you will. But, like, the reason why I can say that is because I was an Evloev mark. I've had future champ. Like, I had him, like, you know, bookmarked as future champ, like, probably 2 fights away.
Me too, like, because I thought he's clean enough on the feet, and his entries into takedowns are easily good enough.
And he's violent in the ground and pound and the clinch. Like, he checks the cardio's insane.
He fights for subs. He's never been
He's got size. Like, yeah, no, I was an Evloev mark. And granted, maybe it was an off night. Maybe he overlooked him. He didn't know that watch the film on the guy. There's a lot of, what ifs and whatever.
I don't know. Look at the guy's tapology. You're gonna figure it out real quick.
And like I almost said on Reddit on goddamn. Why am I blanking? The UFC scoring. Verdict.
Oh
Verdict.
yeah,
Verdict.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
On verdict, I picked Evloev first round KO because I was like, this guy shouldn't be able to carry his jockstrap. I mean, granted, I didn't know dick
KO?
about him. By
Evloev?
KO. Yeah, just because I thought it was going to be some low level guy and you'd get top control and just pretty much do whatever you wanted, drop elbows or whatever. Like, I didn't think it was going to be some, like,
We
spin heel
to
kick or
to
anything.
your
Like,
credit, we did get one of those earlier in the fight where like a dude just put on crazy ground and pound. What the fuck fight was it? Oh yeah, the first fight of the night. Just put on crazy ground and pound and like pretty much won the fight with intense ground and pound. So
what I'm saying is, I just didn't think it was going to be a competitive fight. Now, round one was, I mean, more than competitive. It was close. Like, I had a hard time scoring it. I ended up going 10-9 Evloev, but Evloev did have a takedown, did have like some top control. The ground and pound damage was there, but like Diego Lopez, man, his guard was so active. He was close on the armbar and was close on a triangle.
yeah, both. I'm glad you know both.
On the feet at the start of the round, he caught Evloev with a right that wobbled him. First time my eyes have ever seen Evloev wobble, and it came from a guy I've never heard of named Diego.
He got wobbled twice in this fight.
So if you gave Lopez the first round, like, you're not a crazy person. Like I gave it to Evloev, like, almost against my better judgment. I was like, I had like talked myself into giving it to Evloev, if that makes sense. Like, I wanted to give it to Lopez, honestly. Like, my heart wanted to give it to Lopez, but I was like, yeah, he was on bottom. None of the subs were that close. He didn't cause any ligament damage. I kind of just like had to lawyer myself into giving it to Evloev, but like,
So
I don't think you're crazy if you give
this
it to
is
Lopez.
all right. So we got to talk about this fight. Super crazy fight. The way I scored it, I still had it 10-9 Evloev, although I did write in my notes. Extremely close because Evloev wasn't doing the most damage, right?
No,
but he almost got caught. The triangle I'm not worried about. The arm bar, his corner asked him between the rounds, how's the arm? Knowing like your shit might be torn off. So that in mind.
And he got wobbled on the feet.
And he got wobbled on the feet. And he got wobbled on the feet. So that all in mind, I literally wrote like 50-50. I'm leaning Evloev because he controlled most of the positions in the round, but he was in danger in a lot of the positions he thought he was going to get more control in.
Lopez, man, I mean, what a skill set to be able to. I mean, now we'll get into it. The cardio fades as the fight goes on. His first round was the best round.
I disagree. So
okay.
Yes and no. Yes and no. It's his best round, but I'm not saying that like Evloev's best round is potentially also the first or second. So
Evloev's best round was the second round.
Yeah, sure. But I'm saying it's not the third. Is my point there?
No, it's
definitely not the third. Which
I got a hot take though, because
wait, one judge scored it for Lopez in this round, and two judges didn't. So that's fair. I think that paints a fair picture.
I agree. Now I have a hot take for round two. I went 10-8 Evloev. Nobody else did.
What?
Nobody else did. I mean, he was so. This is the exact opposite. At the start of the round, Evloev was piecing up Lopez on the feet like pretty good. Like, I mean, no wobbling shots or like knockdowns or anything, but he was letting the hands go, touching them up, and he had ground and pound. And like when he was ground and pounding in round two, there was like 2 or 3 separate times where the ref like stepped in, like getting pretty close to stopping it. Like, it was like he was dropping like huge like straights from the top, like ground and pound straights, like from like when he was standing and like coming down on Lopez, who like was it on his back. Like, those were big shots. The ref stepped in like to have a real close look, like at least 2 times, maybe 3. I thought he was winning the fight. Essentially, I thought he like won the fight like bell to bell. Like in round 2, as much as I like love and respect Diego Lopez, and he gained a fan of me, he didn't do dick in round 2. It was all Evloev.
I guess you're right, because when I read my notes, it's more so that I realized, like, oh shit, Diego Lopez has a legitimate chin. Because he was eating really hard shots, but they didn't look hard. Like, he would literally, like, stare at him when he'd get, like socked, like, those straight rights on the ground. Like, he'd literally eat them and, like, look at him and then throw, like, a hammer fist back. And I was like, didn't hurt that bad. So it might have been a visual perception thing.
Lopez is an absolute dog. And one, to credit, literally, verdict didn't give it a 10-8. No judge gave it a 10-8. So I'm on third base holding the catcher's mitt here. But I don't know.
I see where you're working to.
Watching it live, I was like, this was a bell to bell ass whooping on the feet and on the ground, one way traffic. Like, I don't know. It wasn't like gnarly cuts and knockdowns and like some of the things that you typically associate with a 10-8. But I don't know. I guess I've talked myself into it. But anyway, we can keep it quick.
So I understand the talking yourself into it. Now, that being said, I had it 2018 Evloev after 2. Now, I also understood, like, could be 19-19 if you scored the first round for Lopez, which one judge did. 2 judges said it 2018. That being said, I thought Lopez, with, like, the 6 different submissions that he got to, like, finishing potential points in the third round, won the third round because neither guy did the most, like, physical damage, and Lopez was consistently threatening with takedown attempts. So it wasn't that was his best round. It was
like
that
Evloev
didn't have a good round.
And I'll push back. I scored a 10-9 Evloev. He was winning the boxing on the feet, and those clinch elbows he was getting off were like damaging as fuck. There was like some heavy, like stiff, like gnarly elbows.
I guess I got to go back to the chin of Lopez. Like, he just didn't seem to be hurt by those at all. So I just thought, like, well, when he locked up the knee bar in the end, the guy literally admitted afterward, like, yeah, that shit hurt bad. I'm just never going to tap. Like, lesser guys tap to that. So I'm just saying.
Honest, if you ask me, like,
damage, that's way more damage than Evloev ever considered that whole round.
Well, I was about to say, like, if you have like gun to my head, I have to choose. Take one of those clinch elbows from Evloev or take that. Or
get your knee blown out. You're definitely going to eat a clinch elbow every motherfucking time. It's not even a question.
No, I agree.
And that's where my head went, was like, oh, bro, I'll take the clinch elbows all day before I get my knee torqued out, and I just have to survive.
Yeah, no,
and it wasn't only a knee bar.
The Kimura
twice was really deep. And he almost he swept from the top and then almost got to full mount from the first Kimura. And lost out the top and had a triangle, if you remember. Like, he was chaining submissions crazy. I love Lopez.
You know, this fight was absolutely insane. Or maybe I'm just absolutely insane because I scored a 30-26, but here I am agreeing with all these takes of how, like, awesome and competitive and dangerous.
Yeah, I had 29-28 Evloev, and it's the most dangerous he's ever been in his whole career. That's undebatable.
Yes, but, like, it was almost like... all
right, big question. 1FC, how you scoring it? It's very interesting. Especially when you consider the end.
It is, right? Scored as a whole.
Super interesting.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I like, by the way I had to score it round by round, I ended up at 30-26.
Oh, I think scoring, I think Evloev wins. He outscored him. He outpointed him every day. As a fight, holy shit, man.
Yeah, and like Evloev probably ain't fighting for 12 months. I imagine probably Lopez probably fights in fucking 8 weeks, I imagine.
Agreed. Agree fully. Like, if we're on the street and I see you have to go get ACL surgery and I just have to put an ice pack on, sorry about it, I won.
Yeah, man. No, I'm talking out of both sides of my neck.
It sucks. It sucks. Well, it's a Sanhagen-Jan thing. We had that big discussion and, like, we pretty much cleared it up with, like, yeah, you can win a point fight, but you can lose the fight. Now, in one, you can't do that. And I kind of love one for that.
Sanhagen-Dillashaw. It's always Sanhagen in those types of fights.
Sanhagen-Dillashaw is one. Well, that's what I meant to say, but Jan and Sanhagen is also a good example of that,
not to say. It worked.
It's unfortunate that Sanhagen puts himself in those fights, but that's literally his fight style, so he'll forever be in that place.
So Evloev, I mean, improved to 17-0, still very much a factor. Can't wait to see the medicals on that knee. Lopez, I mean, we got a fucking dog here. I mean,
Bryce Mitchell-Lopez next? I mean, I'm just saying.
Like, almost punish Bryce Mitchell? Because a lot of people, I think Joe Ban was saying, like, oh, you got to reschedule Evloev Mitchell. That's almost a reward to Mitchell. He's pulled out twice now. Yeah. He's fighting up. Make him fight down, man. Yeah. I kind of like that. Mitchell Lopez. And then matchup-wise, that's fantastic because both of their submission game is insane.
And neither guy is
probably Lopez has the better striking.
Right. And both guys have a crazy chin and crazy heart. So, like, you're kind of just putting up the same guy against each other. And honestly, that's probably going to turn into a striking matchup, which is going to be so fun between those two because they're just going to throw bombs.
Like, when's the last time we had a guy debut against a top 10 guy, and then we're saying he loses, and we're still saying, like, yeah, give him number 14. Like,
oh, I couldn't put more Cole and Lopez's train. And he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu that is a coach for... Like the Mexican team.
Yeah, I think he coaches Grasso and Aldana, right?
Aldana and Moreno are all at that camp, and he is the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu coach there. So, like, I got you, Lopez. Like, you fight again, I'm watching, dog.
Shout out to Michael. Michael did a Yanni sprinkle.
He sprinkled this?
Yeah.
Oh, he got so close.
He almost hit it. Yeah, shout out Michael, man.
Yeah, fuck
the
my
third
horse.
Beefy boy.
Fuck them Japanese horses. Anyway, the 17 spot was rough. We can keep it pushing to a woman that doesn't know her own weight, which is wild. Jessica Andrade. This is going to take place in strawweight for everyone at home because you never know when I say her name now.
No, literally.
Number, what is she here? 4 versus, in this weight class?
6.
No, Andrade is 4.
4 versus 6. Jan Janaz.
Right, yeah. So in this weight class, Andrade is 4, minus 170, fighting number 6, Jan Janon, plus 145. Cormier kind of cleared it up. I will say, thank goodness for him putting this in there. He asked, I guess, Andrade in their fighter meetings, what's up with 125, 115? Like, what's up? And she was like, I'm just a fighter. Like, I just like to fight. There were better fights to me at 125. Like, and he was like, you've beaten the champion at 115, and like, you've done so much work at 115. Like, you can beat these girls. Why not? And she was like, yeah, you're right. That's why I'm back. It was the weirdest answer. Like, but she just wants to fight.
It's that Brazilian. She's the female Costa. She's just like, oh, weight class, mate class. So let's
yeah. She's like, you just tell me what that scale needs to say, and like, we're gonna fight.
I was born here. I'm from here.
Got it. Easy.
Goddamn right. But
Easy.
But yeah, no, I agree. And then so you had a shitty weekend at the sports book whenever you have to like stick your chest out and brag about the fights you didn't bet on. The other two Beefy boys were just so bullish on Andrade, and I just didn't pull the trigger because like Yan Xiaonan like had her path to victory like on the feet. Like I believed in that, and like they said, you had a shitty but like we have the hindsight 2020 put your chest out about fights you didn't bet on. That's how you know it was a bad weekend. But like I'm doing that right now.
All right, let me ask you, because like everything in my body says Andrade should win this fight. And when I watched the fight, Andrade wasn't doing that bad. She was just being overly aggressive. And then somehow, I'd never seen someone slip a punch and throw an overhand from a slip. I've seen a hook, I've seen an uppercut, I've seen a straight. Overhands are super wild to slip with. So,
well, she was so much taller and longer, and like
that's
definitely the better technical striker. So
the
like
physical attributes like almost like led her to be like, oh, she's so wild. I'm just gonna duck on her and throw something crazy. And literally when she did, like Andrade never saw it. Like when you watch the replay, like she didn't even check the left when she's throwing her right. She doesn't even. Fighters like you'll see their eyes kind of shift, check left, check right, throw. But her eyes stayed straight and went down to the right, and she just got hooked so hard.
Yeah, and it's like, I guess, to Yan Janon's credit, most people thought if she was going to win, she was probably going to keep it technical. She, like, out-crazied Andrade's crazy, right? Like, she timed it perfectly on Andrade's entry, and it wasn't the first time that happened. Like, you're right. Like, Andrade was just, like, kind of brawling, and Janon just timed it really as perfectly as he possibly could. Dropped her with the right hand. I mean, finished Andrade in a way that, I think it's fair to say we haven't seen her get finished in that way.
Never. Not like that. I mean, that was dramatically. She got flash KO'd on the spot. I mean, exactly. Yan hit, 3 ground and pound strikes, and the ref was like, okay, get the fuck off. Like, she's barely awake.
No, 1,000%. Great stoppage. Yeah, fight lasted only 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Janon cashes at plus 145. Yeah, we got to talk Fallout here because, I mean, it's weird how divisions get hot and get cold, man. Because remember when strawweight was just the shit, and it's just been kind of lame lately. Um, and yeah, I mean, so 6 beats 4. Only people above her are Lemos, Namajunas, and Esparza. And it's like there's almost asterisks next to Esparza and Namajunas. They're saying they could jump it straight to Janan versus Wei Li and probably do it like in China and make a bunch of fucking money. And I wouldn't be mad at them if they did, because Rose is wishy-washy.
No, let's do it. Let's do it. Esparza and Rose deserve nothing but to fall outside the top 5 because honestly, Rose is the biggest head case of all time, and I'm not going to deal with that in like professional sports because if you can't be consistent, then I don't want to watch. And that's maybe unfair, but like, bro, the best players of all time in any sport that you've ever watched are consistent. Whether it be tennis, golf,
Jan
basketball,
is 17-3, bro. Like 17-3. I mean, that's nothing to laugh at. I mean, she's been in the top 5 for like years now.
And stylistically, ever since she's left China and joined Team Alpha Male, like she's developed a different skill set. So it's actually going to be a fun. Better. It's actually going to be a fun fight, her versus Wei Li, because they don't train together. Like, yeah, they're both Chinese women, and so like and honestly, in the Chinese market, you're telling me that like the belt can't go to a non-Chinese woman. And you're telling me that they're not going to sell that fight? Fuck off.
Yeah, no, that'd be a big moment. That'd be a big moment for the UFC having an all Chinese championship fight, first time ever. Like that's bank. I mean, NBA does it. I mean, it'd be hard to argue if they went that route.
John Cena made a whole apology video to China for calling Taiwan a country because they make so much money in the WWE in China. All right, so like, let's not even get on. You want me to hop in this chair and be Pat McAfee high horsing it? You want me to high horse it in this chair right now? I'll fucking
phone just taken. It's all good. Old Mandarin John, as I like to call him, I'll say, I mean, any interest, because Carla Esparza did make Yan Xiaonan look bad, like crucifix ground and pound finish in the second round. Marina Rodriguez, the loss to her, and she fought on the prelims and didn't look great. That was a split decision, though. I don't know, man. Like, any interest in like Esparza Xiaonan for like a number 1 contenders match? Like, I mean, it makes sense, on paper, but I feel you. I'm cool with her getting skipped. I mean, I'm no Esparza mark at all.
I think the way they treat the women's division is just give Yan Xiaonan the shot. Like, they don't really care. I'll be honest.
I'll say if they take it to China, I'm down.
Yeah, let's go have a Beijing card. Like, fuck it, I'm down.
So I think
which is crazy. Like the evolution of us as fans is like, fuck it, let's go see a Chinese versus Chinese fight.
Well, after watching goddamn 80 Apex cards, like, yeah, bro, let's fucking. It's fun to fucking see the UFC travel. No, I agree.
Also, I wish the curator of the UFC website was just a little better because they have Minon Fiorot with a period after her name and no one else in the rankings. So good for you guys.
Yeah, that website does be a little sloppy. I catch little shit like that from time to time for sure. But, yeah, I mean, and Andrade is just going to be one of those people where she's relevant. Her name is her name. She's going to get big fights, probably in 2 divisions, as we were talking about. Probably next fight's probably a Fight Night main event or some shit like that. Like, she's in a good spot in the company. It's hard to, hate on her, you know. But, yeah, she just gets the bag. She fights. I mean, she's tough. I mean, you know, I wasn't high enough to be down on Andrade. Andrade is Andrade. Like, I view her. She's world class. You know, she's top 5 in 2 different weight classes, essentially. Like, I mean, maybe she transitions to a little bit more of a gatekeeper. She's been given a lot of opportunities. But you know, it's like she is who she's like what, the female Gilbert Burns, like just like top 5 McGee, like gonna be there, gonna do big things.
Actually, yeah, that's the best comparison I might have heard in a long time. Is that like she's always going to be a consistently strong fight. She might finish you, you might finish her, or you might win a drawn-out decision if you figure it out.
For sure, man. Speaking of Gilbert Burns, we got him up next in the co-main event. Didn't realize, man, Gilbert's 36 years old, dude. He's getting old on us. It's going to be a sad day when Gilbert retires, for real. Like, I'm not even, like, the biggest, like, Gilbert fan, but, like, just the amount of, like, moments I've witnessed of Gilbert in the octagon, like, he's probably one of the guys I've watched fight the most. It's probably fair to say, like, just, like, some people say, like, they wish they could see their life stats. Like, I wish I could, like, like how many Gilbert Burns fights have I watched live on pay-per-view? I mean,
or how many
of other guys,
or how many bullshit Herbert's Burns fights you have to sit through as well. No, I was just gonna say, man. I learned in this card that Durinho means little tough one in Brazilian. Man, that could not be more on display for a guy's career.
Oh yeah,
like Gilbert Burns is forever going to be one of my favorite fighters, simply based on the fact that, like, he does not say no to a fight, doesn't care who he's fighting, ultra game, has really good punching power for being an Abu Dhabi world champion Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy. Like, never was a striker in his past. So for him to have striking that competes with guys like Bilal Muhammad or any other mixed martial artist,
Kamaru,
he dropped him. Like, I'm just saying that, like, I'll always have respect for Gilbert Burns. Never, doesn't matter ranking, age, doesn't matter. So now, that being said, I put money on Bilal in this.
Yeah, and this is another no bet for me. Like, every argument, like, each guy had a path to victory. Now, if I would have known that maybe Gilbert had an elbow injury or something, that might have changed. I imagine everybody's money line. But Gilbert, he's fought 3 times in 4 months, which is awesome. But at 36 is also dicey.
4 weeks out from his last fight as well, so it's not really like you get a camp in between, and your weight cut is literally going to be like another 10 days out of your 30 you spent for this fight. So you have 20 days to actually train for this fight. Now, Bilal is coming off of Ramadan, where he can't actually eat. However, if you watch him betted, you'd know he pays a lot of money to a private chef to make sure his nutrition is still met day to day.
Yeah, no, super impressive. I mean, Bilal is professional as they come. Money line razor close. Bilal at plus 120, Burns at minus 140. And, man, big fight for both men. I mean, I think this was officially announced as a number 1 contenders fight, but which is, Dana's.
No. They were careful with the words. Title eliminator.
That's not the same thing? I've always treated those interchangeably.
Well, I'll say it to you this way. If I told you that 2 guys had title eliminator fights, but I told you one guy had a number 1 contenders fight, you'd know one guy was number 1, but you might know in the other scenario that both guys are going to fight each other to see who gets the next shot.
Yeah, well, regardless, Dana White definitely has a little hypocrisy going on here. He a couple weeks ago, I mean, granted, hopefully that means he's listening to the fans, because I think most fans were a little salty when he announced Colby Covington like number 1 contender.
I mean, like that dude literally rides in his fucking backpack. Like, I used to love Colby so much, but the Dana Colby shit is, I'm over it. I'm fully over it.
You got guys like Bilal, you got guys like Gilbert. Who
and that's why I'm over it.
Guys.
There's guys that deserve it so much more that, like, I'm not going to prop this guy Colby up based on his credentials and abilities versus what everyone else is actually doing when they fight. It's the same as Leon Edwards. Like, you can't just sit there idle and demand fights. I don't do that.
Shavkat's out there. Like, in some divisions you can, but not this one. Not fucking welterweight. Like, that's what I'm saying. If Colby was a light heavyweight or a heavyweight, maybe even a middleweight. Like,
a heavyweight, you can do that all day long. If you're in the top, like, Volkov can never fight, or not
Stipe.
Volkov.
Stipe. I mean, Stipe is an example.
Yeah,
I mean, John Jones.
What's the guy that's Pavlovich? I conflated Pavlovich. Pavlovich could literally sit and not fight for a year and demand a title shot and probably be third in line and get it.
Yeah, no, I agree. But, like, welterweight? I mean,
you can't do that at welterweight. You couldn't win a number 4 versus number 2 fight and just sit there for a year and a half and demand it.
No, welter, bantam, and light are the divisions that you can't fuck around with. There's too deep Too many
We're
killers,
going to get to it, but bantamweight's kind of bullshit log jammed. We'll get to it.
Yeah, man, we will get to it, but we'll get to this first. I mean, rounds 1 through 3, not really worth talking about. I mean, besides the fact that like Gilbert pretty much injured something in his left arm in round 1, and it essentially goes on to fight the rest of the 5-round fight with one arm, literally only swinging right hand.
Yeah, for 4 rounds, I wouldn't even say 4 rounds. I'll say 23 minutes of this fight, he fought with one arm, and it was still competitive. Now,
well, and if you go back and look, the start of round 1 when he had both arms, I mean, it was a 50-50
he was winning.
fight. Yeah, he was winning.
I thought he was ahead, and then Bilal stuffed the takedown. I thought he won the rest of the round. I think he scored the first round of Bilal. A lot of people were back and forth saying it was a very close round. I think it was that close. Now, maybe I picked...
essentially had 2 knockdowns. I mean, they weren't the most violent knockdowns of all time, but they were knockdowns.
And Burns couldn't pick his left arm up, and that's why he was getting knocked down, and he was eating right side body kicks because he was overcompensating defensively with his right hand. Like, all of this comes down to Burns not having a left arm. Now, that's not to say...
Which sucks to talk about. It just reeks of Aljo Dillashaw.
Yeah, but I heard Bilal had a hurt left hip as well coming into this fight. So, I'm just saying that, like, yeah, injuries or whatever, but if injuries are whatever, then we got to take it as what it is.
Well, but if one injury severely impacts the fight and the other one doesn't, then no, I'm sorry, I have to disagree with that take.
So should Burns have pulled out?
Probably. Not only should he have, this fight should have never happened.
Because I'll be honest, I don't think his injury occurred in the fight. I think he re-aggravated something that was hurt in the fight. Sure,
it shouldn't have been booked. This fight, Dana got desperate. Dana knew this pay-per-view was ass. It was already ass before Bryce Mitchell pulled out. He needed to add, like, he needed name value. He needed, like, storyline.
Why do you think he added the term title eliminator to this fight? Which is not the same as adding number one contender. Like, that's a big differential. Because title eliminator means you've eliminated one guy from the title chase. Doesn't mean you're next up.
Imagine this pay-per-view without this fight, but replace it with Dober Frivola. Like, that's literally not a pay-per-view. It's like a really good fight night. Like belt.
I could argue Cejudo Aljo could never be on a fight night, but
yeah, you know, you're right. But goddamn, could every other fight? You bet your ass.
Yeah, it's sad because Andrade Xiaonan would headline the fight night, or Bilal and Burns. Like those are both headlining fight night fights, so it makes sense where they are.
Like Bilal Burns is an amazing matchup.
You know what the real problem is? Did it. Nah, I don't mind the last 3 fights. I think the last 3 fights are fine. I think the other 10 fights are a problem, or the other 9. Like you didn't give me near enough on a pay-per-view. Now, granted, I'm only paying for the last 10 or 10 fighters, 5 fights, right? But at the same time, like, you're selling me a card. Like, you need to juice me while I'm watching the prelims so that I still continue to go ahead and buy the main card. This was not those, right? Like, the 7 fights leading into the last 5 did not inspire me to buy a pay-per-view.
There were some dope-ass prospects, but, yeah, your point well taken. And like I said,
I guess what I'm saying is,
imagine how much more fun this fight is, like, if it's booked 3 months from now. Like, when they're both healthy, they both get a full camp. Like, the short notice, it seemed kind of fugazi.
I guess what I'm saying is don't give me the previous 7 fights unless you're giving me 5 maximized banger main card fights. Does that make sense? Like, if you want to give me a stacked prelim, early prelim, and then, like, 2 or 3 extremely reasonable, very good fights on the main card, and you give me 2 washes as your first 2, fine. You gave me a prelims and an early prelims that were gas. But I didn't really get that here.
I agree. Yeah, this was not one of my favorite cards. This will not be on Prime Cut's card of the year contender by a long shot. But
might be some shit of the year, round of the year here, though.
I want to get to round 4. Round 4 pretty much is when Burns started to show like signs of life. Like that's really how I worded my notes. Like he started to really dig deep and fight back in round 4. Rounds 3 and 2 were kind of one-sided.
I scored round 4 with Burns.
Good for you. I didn't, but like, it was inspiring to watch. Honestly,
he landed those 3 big right hands, and I was like, "Well, shit." Muhammad hasn't landed anything as big as the one right hand, and the other 2 complemented the one. So shit, I'll give it to
No,
Burns.
I agree.
That's literally how I felt. Like, it was almost my, like, defeatist mentality of, like, this guy's fighting with one arm. Like, goddamn, he's still landing bigger shots than Muhammad this round. Like, it's his round. Now, that's not the fair way to score it, but that is, like, how I scored it.
Like when I said good for you, I wasn't even being like sarcastic. Like I literally, for every reason you just said, like I'm glad like somebody out there saw it that way. You know what I mean? Because like it felt a little gross, like giving it to Bilal. Like Bilal was literally, and I'm not saying he's
because he wasn't doing anything to win.
Well, he was like kicking the injured arm, which
was
like pretty gnarly.
It was like the most fucked ass way to win. I was like, all right, bro, I'm not gonna respect you for this.
It was pretty gnarly. I think overall Bilal probably did have more activity. He did have burns on the back foot, the calf kicks, the body kicks, the kicks on that arm were gnarly. But Burns had the biggest moments of that round. You're not wrong. He hurt Bilal. Bilal never hurt him. So, I mean, you're not a crazy person. Like I said, like, good on you. Round 5, I thought also was very close. Very, like, I had to think about who I gave it to. You know, Burns was an absolute dog in that round. I mean, he was literally fighting one-handed, but he was landing with that hand. I mean, he was fighting back. Remember, rounds 4 and 5 were just inspiring as fuck. Because I thought we were just going to watch, like, an injured man get just, like, peppered up.
Yeah, I thought we were going to watch a guy quit. And, in fact, it was the other way around. It was, like, a guy that, like, refused to quit. There were 2 49-46s, and those judges didn't score either round the same, right? So, like, and, like, to your point, you're talking about round 5. One judge scored round 4 to Burns. One judge scored round 5 to Burns. So there's an argument in 4 and 5 for him. So when you see a 48, or if you were to see a 48-47 in this fight, it's not a problem. Now, when I tell you that Bilal won 48-47, but Burns didn't have an arm for 4 rounds, how does that make you feel? Very different than when I tell you won 50-45. Very different.
No, I agree. And when I'm about to talk out of both sides of my neck again, because I am a guy who gave it 50-45, but also, like, I've been seeing people put out videos and shit like, oh, Bilal put on a master class. Like, and people are saying, like,
no.
People are saying that, like, oh, you can't hold Burns' injury against Bilal. And, like, in a vacuum, I guess those statements are true. But
I don't hold it against Bilal, but I'm just saying that, like, when I know
Aljo put on a master class against Dillashaw.
Yeah, exactly. And when I know what it would take for Bilal to defeat Edwards or Covington, he can't have those slip-ups or allow that many offensive opportunities against himself.
Well, and if Burns is fully healthy, full training camp, it's hard for the mind to not fucking, you know, the imagination, you know, to not be like, well, a healthy full camp Burns probably beats Bilal's ass.
Also,
if the Burns that fought Hamza fought Bilal, and Joe Rogan pointed that out, he was like, this isn't the same guy that fought Hamza. Completely agree.
Great point.
Like, if time machine, like...
Oh, if you get that Bilal that fought Hamza, which is not long ago, so you're not talking about, like, an age disparity.
No, it's not an age thing. It's a health thing.
It's literally, he doesn't have a left arm versus he has a left arm. He might starch a Bilal in the 4th or 5th.
That's what I'm saying, dude. It's hard. Like, these are the big what if, you know, woulda, coulda, shoulda kind of takes, but, like, how do you not? It's like kind of fair. Like it's like there's something to it. There's meat on that bone, you know.
Now let me put it this way. After watching this fight, I know and this is why I say this so starkly in comparison with each other. I know it's a title eliminator, right? Not a number 1 contenders match. The only reason those are so significant to me in saying that is that had this been deemed a number 1 contenders match and Bilal was guaranteed a title shot, I wouldn't really feel good about it. Now,
well, also some headlines from the welterweight division kind of factor into this conversation because we say it all the time. There's only 3 people ranked above Bilal: Hamza, Colby, and Usman. So Hamza, we say it all the time. He's a middleweight, right? Like he ain't coming back down. He's a middleweight.
Gone.
And then Usman's calling out Chimaev. And Dana White's words out of his own lips. I missed the part where Usman said catch weight, but apparently in Usman's call out, there was like a catch weight. And Dana came out and was like, oh, I don't want to do that fight as a catch weight. If Kamaru wants to go up to 85 and fight Hamzat, then we have something to talk about. which Dana's telling us that Hamzat's at 85, right? So
Yeah.
so you could argue that Bilal's at 2 behind Colby. Like you could, not even really. It's not that hard. Like that's pretty much what Dana said.
That's how I see the division is that it's only Colby and Edwards ahead of him, and I promise you, after I didn't even consider Hamzat in the rankings when I thought about this. But here's my take on it: is that all right? And just being honest, put Edwards in that ring or Colby in that ring, they get Bilal out of there.
Yeah, I know. And Bilal's in the weirdest spot. It's not. It's worse than a Max Holloway spot.
Wait. Time out. He's fought Edwards before, and he got the eye poke
that stopped it. I know.
Now, time out.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, what do you think about the first 5 minutes of that fight before the eye poke? I scored it 10-8.
He was losing.
I scored it 10-8 for Edwards. It wasn't close.
Yeah. No, you got to do Edwards Colby, and I know I sound like a hypocrite.
That
once
sucks,
again, both sides
but Bilal literally didn't earn himself the right over Colby, which was on the table. If he starched Burns in round 3,
yes,
and got a flashy TKO or a 6 sub on the best jiu-jitsu guy in the division, bro, I can't deny it. You got to fight for the title. Next, I got to see
that did not happen.
But you barely beat a one-arm Gilbert Burns. I will never reward that. In fact, you can fight back one more time.
Even juxtapose it like Colby versus a one-arm Gilbert Burns is a lot less competitive than that,
bro.
Or even Leon.
There, Colby probably gets him.
Leon
definitely gets him out of there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Bro.
He will head kick you without your arm.
It honestly does suck that Hamzat's not a welterweight anymore.
I know, because he's way better in that discussion.
Because I think Hamzat fucks up Colby, fucks up Leon.
All right, man.
The reason why he fucks him up is because he's so much bigger. So I mean, it's kind of a.
Let's be fair. It's a co-main. Who's Bilal fighting next?
See, that's why I'll be real. I wouldn't mind Usman Bilal. But
that's what makes sense. But Usman won't do
Chimaev at 85 is you could argue that's a pay-per-view main event. You could argue like a Masvidal Colby type of pay-per-view main event. You could argue that's a massive fight.
Massive. It'd be so fucked if they made Bilal fight Shavkat and they promised the winner a title shot and made Bilal just go through 3 hoops for Shavkat's one.
It's not out of the realm of possibility because Bilal's already. I mean, and what are you going to do? Shavkat Wonder Boy?
Well, no, I'm just saying if Hamzat leaves the rankings and Burns falls one, then you're talking about 3 versus 4, Bilal versus Shavkat, and the winner gets title shot. You could tell me that every day of the week.
Yeah, and Dana was already trying to do that fight. That's the reason
why. He said he literally said we have plans for Bilal, meaning he was going to fight Shavkat, and Bilal was like, I'm not going to do that. And they were like, Burns? And he was like, I'll do that. Well, does that not, and he barely beat Burns, does that not show you that Shavkat's about to train his way up to the top?
It's never like a fucking hypocrite, bro. I don't want that for Bilal, but I do want that for Shavkat. I am a Shavkat fan. I would love, I do want to see Shavkat fight for a belt.
Shavkat Usman would be fun as fuck, too, because I think he dogs Usman.
See, but I think that's the one thing you don't see. Usman made that clear. I think Usman calling out Chimaev guarantees that he doesn't fight Shavkat.
All right, can I say something on the side of Usman is, hey, bro, you're old and you lost twice in a row. You're done making calls. You got your time. It's over. Hey, you dress nice. It's over.
The thing is, the fact that he called out Hamzat, I think throws a wrench in that. I think if he called out Bilal or some winnable fight, the fact that he called out the guy that's bigger, younger.
Why do you think he called him out? It's a
name
value.
Because,
it's a name value. And he thinks he can out-wrestle.
No, because I think that's his path to the belt. I think that's his path to the belt. I think it takes a win over Chimaev to get him another title shot. Maybe at a different weight class.
No.
Maybe you do.
He won't fight Izzy. They've already made that clear.
Yeah, but
I'm just saying, right now for sales, like, why would you make him fight him? Because if Shavkat has to be 85, and Usman's like, I'm not going to fight my Nigerian brother, all right, then we got nothing to talk about. Bro, he needs to retire.
It's a good point.
I'm done with Usman. I'm done with Usman. He has nothing left in this division for me. Everyone's past him.
But, hey, even if it's one night only, give me Usman Chimaev.
Nah, everyone's past
Chimaev needs to fight somebody.
Yeah, Chimaev needs to fight Paulo Costa or Jared Cannonier or Marvin Vettori.
I'd rather see that than Usman, though. Like, real
100%.
Talk, like,
yeah, because Usman won't challenge for the belt. It's the same as Merab with any of the fights. Like, and we'll get to that because that's a big point for me. If you refuse to fight someone and you're in the top 3,
I guess I'm operating under the pretense that I think Chimaev wins. So that doesn't factor in.
I'm just saying
so
future
if
tense
that
of
fight
the
happens,
fight. I don't even care about like how I see it. I'm just saying like if Usman does win, that is fucked the division. You can't do that.
Yes, I don't think that's a reason not to make a fight. I don't know.
I think it is because here's why. If you refuse to fight someone, I'm not going to reward you for refusing to fight someone. It's professional fighting. Fight who I pay you to fight. It's not a conversation about, oh, I like this guy. I don't care. It's professional fighting. Whether or not teammates in college want to play each other in the NFL, they play each other and they play each other brutally for a win. I don't give a fuck, Usman. Fight your Nigerian brother who grew up in New Zealand and you guys are just both Nigerian. Bro, that'd be like Americans.
It's New Zealand versus Nebraska.
It'd be like, he's American, I'm American. We're not going to fight, but he's from Oregon and I'm from Florida. Bro, what are we talking about? That's ridiculous. You lose me as a fan when you say shit like that, and so I will not support it. I will not give you any clout.
No, fair point. I think one night only. That would be a lot of fun to watch, though. And I think Hamzat wins.
And we're about to get to it leading into this, but Merab's a pussy, too. And Merab would beat Aljo every time after watching this fight. And he knows that. I agree. And his gym knows that, and they're protecting Aljo, and I fucking hate that.
No, I agree, man. So we got up next, we got the main event. We got the return of Triple C, Henry Cejudo, former double champ, former triple champ. Aljamain taking on Aljamain Sterling, the current bantamweight champ. And we both bet Cejudo. We both like Cejudo. And even after this fight, my point still stands. He hasn't beat a guy, and I mean beat letter of the law. I mean capital B, capital E, capital A, capital T. Like beat a man, like beat the man standing across from him. Since the Sandhagen win, that was in 2020. I was living in a different state the last time Aljo actually like.
We were in COVID lockdowns when this motherfucker murdered a guy.
Ever since then, you have a DQ? You have the DQ win, the split decision win, and what am I missing one?
He beat a guy with no arm, Dillashaw.
Yes, which that's the most fugazi one of them all. So I mean, you got a DQ in which you got knocked out,
in which he was getting dogged. I scored the second fight for Jan, and then he beats a guy that doesn't have an arm.
Yes. Fugazi champ. Definitely. So I'm just like, that was my whole reason. None of my reasons for picking Henry, like, ring rust, yeah, sure. Age, yeah, sure. But it was just, doesn't like beat guys. Like he finds himself on the right side.
Like he loses dog fights.
No, I gotta say, broad stroke, and zoomed out here. Just like Henry Mark or Henry Expert, but I watched the Marlon Moraes fight? Was that who him?
135.
And like I watched that, and like Henry was so fast back then. He doesn't have that.
No,
just fast and ferocious. And it's not that he lost. I guess he did lose a step. I guess if you're losing speed, I guess that's the phrase to use. Lose a step. Like
it's all right. All right, hold on. If you want to officially introduce this fight with odds and everything and explain our bets, I'm going to grab a beer, but I have a great point to make. I just want to grab a beer and let you introduce it before I do.
Yeah, and honestly, I didn't write down the odds. I think the UFC graphics people shit the bed on this when they didn't have the odds in the tail of the tape, which they always do. UFC website has it at -110, -110. I do believe that Henry finished as a favorite. I do believe Henry finished as a favorite. I think we got Henry at 115, I believe. So I mean, either way, I mean it's essentially a coin toss. But it's interesting that I mean it's not often that the current champ is the either even money or underdog.
Especially after a 3-year layoff. Like, I mean, most champs get that respect of like the most champs be the -120 without a layoff. Like he was the +100 with Henry Sue having a big layoff.
It just goes to show, man, that like we're not alone in our perception of Aljo. Vegas agrees with us. The fans agree. The bettors agree with us. Like,
or I think our perception of Henry. Like, I think he has been so active in the MMA community, coaching great fighters like Figueiredo, Demetrius Johnson, John Jones, Yuri Prohaska. Like, when you hear these names and they're working with his camp, it's like, well, he has to be taking tools from them as well.
Yeah, man. Honestly, I didn't think Henry looked great. Now we still get to a toss-up of a decision.
Hey, thank you, man. Henry did not look his best by any means, and it's still a 50-50 decision.
Yes, like
now, what's it say about Aljo?
I mean, we got to go round by round.
That's the question, right? Is what does that tell you about Aljo? And what does that tell you about
Not
Marab?
the best bantamweight in the world. Aljo's not the best bantamweight in the world.
100%. There's two guys better right now walking the planet if they step into a fight, and that's O'Malley and Marab.
Technically, because one's
or Demetrius. Holy shit, Demetrius
way better than Aljo.
But Demetrius would finish him within 3 rounds. Like it's a 15-minute finish.
Aljo Adriano Moraes is a fight.
Moraes finishes him too. You know why? Because Moraes is the same size, and what Aljo depends on is literally
Moraes
being
is
huge. Like Aljo has no place in the ring with Moraes. None.
Well, and then there's some killers in Bellator bantamweight as well.
Figueiredo might give Aljo trouble.
Is Usman Usman's a lightweight. Is Usman or Magomedov a weight class? I think Bellator has some.
Umar
is he a bantamweight?
Umar is
no, I know
lightweight.
Umar. No, I'm talking about Usman though, the Bellator guy.
No, he's 45.
He's 45. All right, but they have some guys at bantamweight.
Little Pitbull is 35.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He could probably beat Aljo too.
Fuck yeah.
What I'm saying, bro. That's what Aljo is not the best bantamweight in the world, which is a bad look for the UFC. I think that's why the UFC made this match. They're like, we got to get this belt off this guy.
I mean, yeah, I fully agree with that, but it's also a thing of like, Aljo has the weirdest knack for barely pulling out fights. Like, he barely wins them, but he does win them.
That's my whole point going back to the lead up is like, he doesn't beat guys. He finds himself somehow on the right side.
But he doesn't lose to guys. I think is the counter to your statement is like, yeah, he barely beats guys, but in counter, he doesn't lose.
Yeah, no, and
that's a weird like juxtaposition because like as a fight fan, like me and you, as a like fight commentator, fight analyst, it's not entertaining. It's not great. It's hard to respect and love.
It'd be another thing if he fucking was like a sick on the mic or an awesome guy or really likable.
He's kind of cringe on the mic.
I mean, he's just like the most unlikable guy. He's an American champ,
bro.
You know, but he comes out with a Jamaican flag.
Imagine being from New York, repping New York, fighting in New Jersey at the Prudential Center, which is like
getting booed,
and he got booed. Bro, you suck.
Don't even fuck with him.
Like, you gotta suck so hard for your home area to boo you over a guy from southwestern United States that's a gold medalist.
I agree, man.
Like, you gotta suck as a dude. Like, in his community, he must suck.
Like, the most unlikable champ, like, by so far, and I'm including Amanda Nunes in that. Like,
he's the least likable champion. By
Leon
far.
Edwards in that. Like, I'm including
Bro, at least Leon had beat at Usman in the last fight, and he looked good doing it, and like it was convincing. Like, oh yeah, Leon won that fight. Like, Aljo's never convinced me he could beat these guys. He just
even Zhang Weili, like, bro, like Weili, like at this point, like, she's likable. She's more likable than Aljo, and she comes from a place who actively tries to undermine our society. Like,
Well, bro, and it hurts me too because I scored this fight for Cejudo.
see, I didn't, but let's get to it. Let's go round by round because we can give opinions and hot takes all day, but round by round is super duper important, man. Round one, maybe the hardest round of score of the whole fight.
I agree with that. I agree with that fully.
You know what round one really came down to me, and call me a caveman or a casual if you want to. That the very last punch of the round by Aljo to like a downed Henry was like I thought the most impactful strike of the fight. I thought he had bad intentions on it, which I've never seen Sterling land clean with bad intentions before. It was kind of dope. And I was like, okay. Like I'll say this: Sterling fought differently in round one of this fight. Like he was on the feet, he was pressuring. He was kind of fight like a dog.
He was the guy pressuring round one. Which I just want to give small shout to myself. When we go back to our text with Michael, I was like, yeah, he's going to try that pressure bullshit. Henry's going to figure out the range and counter it. Henry never figured out the range. Now, that being said, he did learn to stifle attack, but he never learned to counterattack.
Yeah, and then Cejudo did get a takedown in round one. My literally notes, so underneath all that nice stuff I said about Aljo, I said Cejudo got the takedown, but he's struggling with range. And the knees to the body for Aljo.
Yeah,
Aljo
the knees to the body were
takedown.
The knees to the body were gave me the first round Aljo. And now, granted, that takedown was really fucking nice. Like you're talking about Henry Cejudo, man. Like you get to take down him. That shit's impressive.
Yeah, no, for sure. So yeah, it sounds like we both gave round one to Sterling, right?
Yep.
And then round two, also very, very close.
Extremely close. Cejudo starts to get more
actually,
active with
this
the
was
hands.
the hardest one to score.
Yeah, this round was harder to score. Now, I think round one might have been closer, but I think it was kind of evident scoring. And I know that's weird to say, but like damage was closer in one. It's just two was harder to score based on like differentials.
Like round two, it was weird because like Sterling won the boxing, but hey, it's not a boxing match.
Exactly. And strike numbers, he only outstruck him by 3.
Once Cejudo started getting active with the calf kicks, he landed some, I think, 2 head kicks in that round.
He landed a huge head kick.
Yeah.
Which credit to Sterling, he kind of just like walked with it. But, I mean, like I said, the damage was kind of negligible at the end of the round. Like both guys kind of did the same. But Cejudo definitely had more control in that round.
When it was crazy, because how often do you see one guy lead the dance in one and then the other guy lead the dance in two? Like Cejudo was pressuring in two, had Sterling on the back foot. Yep. I think we're both getting at the same thing. I think we gave round two to Cejudo.
I did, yeah. I had it 19-19 after 2.
I agree. And Cejudo ended the round on top, which in a close round, I mean, that can kind of go a long way. I mean, it's not the end-all, be-all, but...
Well, caught the kick, tree-topped it, got on top, maintained control of the other round. Like, it was actually kind of a statement of, like, hey, we might have been even on the feet until this last 45 seconds, and I won this last 45 seconds. So if we're going to split the first 4:15 and I get the extra 45 seconds, you almost have to give it to me.
I agree.
Now round 2 judges gave it to him, 1 judge did not.
I think Aljo did some good work. Aljo did some good work in 2, but I just thought, I liked Henry's more. Now, round 3 was weird. Actually, I mean... Henry is, I guess what I'm going to say about it's weird. Henry fought a very good round, Henry lost the round.
Really? You think Henry lost the 3rd round?
Yeah, man. Because
really?
I mean, Henry.
Tell me why.
Defended takedowns essentially the whole round, and he defended them beautifully. The round. Aljo won the significant strike numbers. That clinch knee to the head was by far the most damaging moment for either man in the round.
It's the only moment he got any damage that whole round. That and one cross right. He literally had 2 strikes the whole round that were mean.
And Henry had the best defense. I mean, such good defense in 3. You don't win a round for defense.
Yes, but he literally had
got a takedown.
Yeah,
but dick with it.
When Aljo would shoot, here's the problem. When Aljo would shoot, he was doing the Peter Yan thing where he'd shoot and he would fail miserably. And he would suck down and just stay on the ground and cover his head with his hands. Bro, if it's one championship, he fucking loses right there on the spot. If it's
one championship, he's dead.
On the spot. So that visual is dog shit for me. I can't respect it, especially after watching Demetrius and Adriano fight the night before. Like, and that definitely has to do with my scoring in this. I'm not even gonna lie. But like, for me to see those guys actually have to defend themselves, and for him to take that bitch ass route, I won't give him round 3. I won't.
It was lawyer ball, and I'll be real. You know what was going through my head? I was like, "Oh, this is why Peter Yan needs your ass." This is like,
because you do bitch ass shit, bro. Like, you abuse the rules to hide from me. Like, fight me.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Not wrong. But
it sucks. It's like the shittiest.
Aljo won the round.
I guess, yeah, on a point scoring system, yeah, but like, I will never score those optics that way.
But on a respect or like a
bro, he was literally hiding from him for 5 minutes. Like, that's how that round looked. Is like, you're avoiding this guy for 5 minutes.
Do not disagree with you.
That's sad. Is that not sad? The bantamweight champion is literally avoiding guys. It's fight IQ. I get it, but I'm just saying. Look at
Aljo was like on the offensive that whole round. That's the part of the story that you're leaving out that matters a lot.
That's fair.
Because those moments where he was on his knees, I know it's like a big thing, but that wasn't the whole round. That was probably 15 seconds of the round.
Yeah,
like
but
I mean,
near like the midway point of the round. But near the midway point of the round, Aljo shoots like a deep shot, gets caught with double underhooks, and eats like a full knee to the solar plexus, and doesn't shoot again for the rest of the round. Like, clearly afraid, and is literally hiding afterward. So, like, I just thought the optics of, like, him eating a hard shot and being like, I'm just going to survive the round. I was like, I'm not going to give you this round.
So you end up giving the fight to Cejudo. And, like, you can't, like, this is why you can't score rounds that way, is because, like, round 3 for Cejudo is not, like, how you win a fight and win a championship belt. Like,
I wouldn't say he was on the defense Aljo either. Him hiding
he
on
was
the ground.
Going for it. He was going for it. He hit on the ground for like 15 seconds out of a 5-minute round.
I mean, but like,
it happened, but that's not like, the whole round.
Okay, but you're saying he went for it. Like, yeah, he went for it because he was going to hide in defense. Like, that's sad.
No, he was shooting takedowns, bro. Like,
and then hiding in defense. Like, that's sad.
Yeah, I didn't love it.
That's the rule set, but that's sad. Like, he gets finished in one right there on the floor.
I'm not going out and buying any Aljo merch, but like, not how you win a round. You still haven't told me what Henry did to win the round. You just told me what Aljo did.
The massive knee of the body, I thought, was the biggest shot in the whole round. First of all, the strike he landed at the solar plexus, because Aljo didn't shoot the rest of the round, and that was halfway through the round. So clearly, Aljo was very effective.
What about Aljo's knee to the head?
Listen. Henry ate that shit and didn't show any. Henry never changed his game plan. He never changed. You can argue that Henry has a better chin. If that's what you want to say, sure. But like visible damage, Aljo ate the shot way worse and looked like a bitch in the whole round.
Hell yeah, brother!
I mean, 2 judges scored it for Cejudo, so you tell me.
Great, that's the best point you made this.
I mean, you tell me. 2 professional judges scored it for him, so you tell me.
Yeah, those guys never get it wrong, but we'll keep it pushing.
I'm just saying, bro. I'm just saying. Like, the optics were fucking dog shit for Aljo. I agree with you. You probably outpointed him, but those optics, man, you can't have that.
Well, I think we're really laying out. We're really painting a picture of this fight because
we're painting a picture of him as a champion. This is his whole picture as a champion. Like, this is who he is. Like, he wins dog shit rounds.
Scoring perspective, round 4 is a clear winner. Round 5 is a clear winner. Well, so I thought. We'll get to that. Rounds 1, 2, and 3 could literally go either way. Like it's 3 coin flips. Yeah. But round 4 was the
that's Aljo all day.
Which is the only round we can say that about in this whole fight. Had a clear winner.
Yeah, agree fully. Well, yeah, you're right. I was gonna originally say 3 was Cejudo, but I'm biased for sure. 4 is definitely the only round.
Well, I was going to say 5 is Cejudo, but one judge gave it to Aljo, which is how Aljo wins the fight,
5
which is out of line.
5 was close.
I thought 5 was clearly Cejudo.
Me too. I will say 3.
Very pro Cejudo.
Well, here's what I was going to say.
Round 5 is Cejudo all day.
5 is close. 3 is way closer than 5. Does that make you know what I'm saying? So like, if I'm going to give 3 to Cejudo, I gotta give him 5. The judge didn't give him 5. Gave him 3.
Judge that didn't give him
That's
5
all I'm saying.
Really out of pocket.
That's all I'm saying.
It was Derek Cleary.
Derek Cleary, dog shit scorer of fights.
Yeah, really out of line.
Wait, so it sounds like you agree that by like scoring synopsis, like this should have been a Cejudo win if you scored 3 for him.
But I didn't. So that's the hill I'm dying on. That's why I'm fighting you so hard on. Because I gave Aljo 3, Cejudo 5.
But what about 2?
Because
this really comes down to 2.
I gave Cejudo 2. So I gave Cejudo 2 and 5. And I gave Aljo 1, 4, and 3.
What about giving Cejudo 3 and 5, but not 2?
Yeah, I think Cejudo, I liked Cejudo's 5. I didn't like Cejudo's 3, bro. He was defending takedowns. Like, he spent the vast majority of that round defending takedowns. He defended it very well. The clinch to the body, or the knee to the body, cool. It was pretty dope. He also got knee in the head. I think those kind of cancel each other out. Aljo was on offense. Cejudo was on defense. Call it octagon control even if you want.
I think that's what it is. I'm not even going to, I wouldn't argue that. If you're like, it's a tertiary measure of scoring. Like, yeah, fair. It is, because that round was so close.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah, that round was so
cancel
close.
Each other out. So close. But I thought giving 5 to anybody, because the thing is, Aljo did the same bullshit he did in the yawn split, where he thought he was up and gave 5. I think Aljo would disagree.
I'm so glad you said that.
Aljo gave Cejudo 5. Like,
he literally gave him the round thinking he was up 3-1, which was so crazy because I had 2-2.
So to give Aljo that round is like banana.
Okay, so I'm glad you said that, man.
I don't think Aljo gave himself that round.
I literally gave Cejudo 2-4-5 or 2-3-5. So like the only round we split on is 3. But for what?
I know you did.
but like for you to agree that 2 and 5 are obviously his rounds and that 3 is that close, this should be a split decision. And it shouldn't make Aljo feel good about himself that a guy took a 3-year layoff and took him to a split and he had to dog shit fight his way through
a guy he was way bigger than.
Because let me ask you this.
He was way bigger than.
Because let me ask you this. So cat's out of the bag. Aljo wins split decision 48-47. 2 judges for him, 1 judge for Cejudo. All 48-47s, right? In 1 FC, Cejudo wins this fight. Because he finished stronger. His last round was stronger. If I had a 2-2 and he won the last round and you were okay or close to 2-2, you have to admit that 5th round was clearly Cejudo.
Honestly, bro, you don't know my real opinion. This fight fucking sucked.
This fight sucked. I zelled you. But it even sucks that either one of us paid money for this. Like, I've seen fight nights that were more entertaining.
Wasn't that fun to watch? Neither guy, the reason why we're debating is because neither guy beat up the other guy, which, hello, this is a fist fight. Like, that's what we came to watch. That's what we paid $80 to watch, is somebody beat up the other guy. And, like, I don't know. Like, we didn't really – it's not like we saw high-level grappling. I guess you could argue you saw, like, high-level counter wrestling from each guy. But, like, I mean, show me a highlight reel of this fight. It's fucking boring. Like, even the highlight reel of this fight's boring. Like,
yeah, who landed a big strike to the head? Oh, no one?
Well, no.
Cool.
Dana agrees. Dana gave nobody from the main event a bonus.
Shit, Diego Lopez deserved a Dana Duff one underneath the, like, if anyone on the main card got a bonus, it was Diego Lopez and he lost the goddamn fight. Like I said in our intro of this, there were 4 winners and 1 loser, and those
Lopez got fight of the night.
Yeah,
he did get a bonus. And then, honestly, bro, so everything, that's what's crazy. So we got to get to the post fight. Sugar comes in the cage. It was awesome. He looks way bigger than Did you see Marab
steal his jacket?
Steal the jacket.
That was clean.
It was amazing. It was so good. And I want to see Sugar Marab more than I want to see Aljo.
I disagree only because I think Marab dogs Sugar and I think Marab dogs Aljo. I think Marab is the true champion of the division, but he won't take the shot until someone beats him.
I like that take, bro. I like that take a lot.
I honestly do.
So, yeah, it was awesome. They get into it. Marab steals Sugar's Thriller jacket.
And then Sugar tried to fight Marab for the jacket, and then Aljo was like, wait. I'm going to have to fight you on Marab's behalf. And I was like, you got to fight him on your own behalf, fool. What are you talking about?
came out looking like the real dog and the real draw, if I'm being honest.
Thank you, bro. Like, the whole time I was looking at him in the middle, like, between them when they're facing off, I was like, this fool stealing your jacket, looking at both of you, like, I'll dog both of you right now in this ring. I was like, that's the champion in the jacket.
That's the champ. Like,
That's
Chael
crazy.
says it all the time. Like, you ask the boys in the locker room, they all know who's the best. Like, it's Marab. And like, so like, Marab, hey, you know who, whether consciously or consciously, that was Jake Paul got your hat all over again.
It literally was, bro. Literally, got your hat.
It worked, bro. It was Jake Paul got your hat. Marab's an absolute dog. Hey, I'll say Sugar Aljo will be hopefully more fun than Cejudo Aljo. You know what? Also,
I go two ways. That fight's either super fun or it super sucks. Because, like, if Sean O'Malley, because Henry Cejudo could barely defend transitions from Aljo, which he's so good at, man. I don't think Cejudo has a prayer in that division. O'Malley, so he has to land those strikes on the feet and hurt Aljo and show him, like, all right, bro, you come in. Like, you're going to get hurt to come in.
I'll say, I think it's plausible that Sugar puts Aljo on the back foot.
Yeah, I agree with the feints and the and he can't shoot him because of the knee feints.
Knees up the middle, knee feints up the middle, teep kicks up the middle.
I agree.
There's a path to victory for Sugar.
Now with Marab, I think Marab says, I don't give a fuck about what you're going to do. I'm just going to come in 50 times and you're going to be on your back.
Chin, I think, is better than Aljo's chin.
Agreed. So his cardio is better than Aljo's cardio.
Yeah.
And honestly, his entries are better than Aljo's. Like, he's better than Aljo. I don't understand how that whole gym knows. They're just like,
because like Aljo's striking sucks, but he usually has a reach and size advantage. But against Sugar, he doesn't. So like,
Aljo's fucked when he's not the bigger guy. Because that was this whole fight was like his 7 inches in reach. Cejudo couldn't solve 7 inches. He could solve 5. He could solve 4. Could not solve 7. Aljo is not bigger than O'Malley, and O'Malley's a healthier 135 at that size. Like Aljo sucks off 45 pounds. O'Malley sucks off 20.
Yeah, no, I agree, dude. So that was awesome. Also, another I couldn't help but think this whole time, Cejudo has been trying to parlay a Volkanovski fight.
That's dope.
So Volk murders Henry and Aljo for that matter.
Close.
Like I don't even think Aljo.
Bro, Volk's so good. Like these guys are ridiculous for talking about.
Fight. That's not even a super fight.
These guys are ridiculous for talking about Volk. Like that guy is so fucking good. He might be the best on earth. Like pound for pound, skill for skill, he is. Actually, I'm not even gonna say he is. Like as good as Islam is at grappling, Volk could match him and Volk could outstrike him. And I know size matters, but like John Jones, Volk's more technical, I think, does what he does better.
Bro, is it a hot take to say that I would rather see Yair Volk than Volk Aljo? And is it a hot take to say that I think Yair probably beats up Aljo?
Every fight, yeah. Because Yair's linked with the kicks.
Like, and his jiu-jitsu and his takedown defense, he's long, he's athletic.
It'd be dumb.
I agree. So, like, this whole Aljo moving up to 145 is supposed to somehow get me excited or supposed to, like, make me buy in, like, Jonah Hill.
I'll tell you this. Aljo already knows that that's not the next fight for him because why would he let O'Malley come in the cage and have all that face off?
But he said one more. He said O'Malley.
Okay. Great. You know why? Because he knows Merab beats him, and no one else is behind O'Malley aside from Merab. Name the next 135 guy up. Umar, he needs 2 more fights.
Yeah, you're right.
And I think Merab beats Umar. Like, Merab's going to dog fighters off from being able to even challenge Aljo, and he won't fight Aljo. So Aljo gets left with the premise of, well, I either got to fight up, or I got to have to make Merab fight me, and they won't do that. Like, bro, that's my whole thing with, like, you can't not fight someone in your division. Like, are you fighting for your, like, belt, or are you fighting for your gym?
I wouldn't even say this is a hot take. This is just, like, a fan take. Like, if I could watch, like, a simulated.
Aljo, so.
You know the real fight? The real fight, if you ask me, is Aljamain Ortega.
At 45?
Fight. Yeah, 45.
Yeah, but okay, but you're saying not for the belt, right? Like you understand Volk is easily better than both those
That's
guys.
why
Oh, okay, yeah, sure,
like
sure,
it,
sure,
like
sure, sure, sure. Yeah, 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 all good, all good, all good.
as far as like fights that would be fun for my eyeballs to watch.
Yeah.
Ortega, because I
Yeah.
don't think like I think Yair beats up Aljo. I think Holloway beats up Aljo, and I think Volk beats up Aljo. I'll stay that with my chest out.
I think Holloway. This is great. I think Holloway finishes Aljo inside of 3.
That's what I'm saying. But like
Like
Aljo Ortega,
honestly, I don't even think Aljo Holloway is competitive. I don't even see that competitive.
Ortega is like the grappling version of Izzy Peloton. Like it's just like grappler's delight. Like it's
See, but what you're gonna see is both those guys will like Aljo won't pressure for takedowns because he's too afraid of the guard, and Ortega won't be able to get takedowns because Aljo's so good in transitions. So they're gonna get striking, which is also
mid
great,
striking.
but it's mid striking. So like you're gonna see a shit ton of damage and big shots, but like nothing's gonna be great. Like it won't be Peloton Izzy because like even though those guys were doing damage, that was like so technical. Like you would just see a
No,
slobber knocker between fucking Ortega and Aljo, and I'm here. I'm all here for that. I'm just saying that's what it is.
yeah, you're probably not wrong. But yeah, I guess we're both. Neither one of us are hyped on Aljo going to 45. Neither one of us think he's the best 35. That's why and we have such a love for the 35-pound division that it's just frustrating, right? Kind of sour taste in your mouth, kind of a shitty pay per view. But I am, in fact, about to piss myself. So this will wrap up this segment of episode. What is it? 129 of the Beefy Boys
129,
breakdown.
baby. We're about to these prelims next, I think.
Yeah, man. But yeah, we'll be potentially right back. I'll be right back. Yeah, subscribe, check out our channel, give us a thumbs up. Appreciate everybody watching.
We will see you guys shortly. Hope you enjoyed the fight card more than we did.